Hello, this is Sprint 1 for Gravity Runner. My name is Remington Steele, the team lead, along with my team members, Levy and Jiyun. Summary of our achievements. Jiyun created the login system, established verification and authentication through Firebase as well. Greg stopped the phone from auto-adjusting its orientation on rotation, and established the multi-directional gravity of the game. I created the player and interactable boundary objects, and established the player's reaction to that gravity. Again, my name is Remington Steele, and here are my user stories. Child user story. As a player, I want to move right relative to the phone's orientation so that I can progress even when the gravity changes. Acceptance criteria. The player avatar should be rotated 90 degrees per screen orientation shift, and the player should be pulled downward toward the direction of gravity, no matter the current orientation. So now we'll show the example of this here. We have our app running of Gravity Runner. We hit play. We're going to choose not to log in, and it'll bring us right into the app here. And we see our player as he slowly is moving down, very low gravity here. And now, if I go and, say, rotate the phone, he'll start moving downward towards his now new gravity set at this new 90-degree angle turn. And we can do this with any orientational shift. He will keep moving downward towards what would be the ground. And his orientation as well shifts 90 degrees each time. Now, on to, we'll move this back here, on to the next. Child user story. As a player, I want to move right without any input so that the game is always progressing. In the acceptance criteria, the player should move at a constant rate of 10 pixels to the right. The player should be moving perpendicular to the pull of gravity while colliding on the ground. While colliding on the ground is very specific here. As we saw earlier, we go in and play the game one more time. He's moving down with a pull of gravity. He has no extra forces acting upon him right now. But, say, we rotate the phone this direction, he attached on the ground and starts moving his designated 10 pixels per frame here. And he's always moving perpendicular to the pull of gravity. He's running along the walls. Once we turn, as we can also see here, as he's running, if we see that final pull of gravity still coming down on him along with his initial acceleration from running, hits the ground again, keeps on running. And that has been my user stories.
Hello, my name is Greg Levy, and this is the presentation of my child user stories following the conclusion of Sprint 1. So without further ado, get on into it. Alright, child user story. As a player, I want the app to lock the phone's orientation so that the phone does not rotate the app while running. Acceptance criteria on that: when the phone is rotated, the screen should not rotate, and when the phone is rotated, the activity should not be reloaded. So if we pull up our handy dandy phone here, hit the play button, and as you can see, as I'm rotating the screen here, the app isn't reloaded and the screen is not rotated. So that's important. We want the app to maintain its state through the rotations. So app's not reloaded and screen is not rotated. All right, so there's that one. And we will continue. As a player, I want to rotate the phone so that the game's gravity is based on the phone's orientation.
Mic off. Mic on.
When the phone acceptance criteria here. So when the phone is in portrait orientation, the player falls towards the bottom of the screen. And when the phone is in a landscape orientation, the player falls towards the bottom of the screen. And when the phone is in the reverse portrait orientation, the player falls towards the bottom of the screen. And finally, when the phone is in a reverse landscape orientation, the player falls towards the bottom of the screen. So basically, in any orientation, we want the player to fall towards the bottom of the screen. So this is portrait orientation, and the player is falling towards the bottom of the screen. In this case, it's going to be here. So if I rotate it to reverse landscape, this is now the bottom of the screen, and we have the player falling down towards the bottom. All right, and this is reverse portrait, and as you can see, the player is now falling towards the bottom of the screen. And reverse landscape, and the player is falling towards the bottom of the screen. And we go back to portrait, and he's falling towards the bottom of the screen. Landscape once again, falling towards the bottom. If we go the other way, he's still falling towards the bottom. So we'll rotate counterclockwise again. He's falling towards the bottom. We rotate counterclockwise. He's falling towards the bottom. And so no matter what orientation the screen is in, our player is always falling towards the bottom. All right. That'll conclude my presentation, and thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Jiyun, and I will explain my child user story. The first child user story is this. As a player, I want to press the play button so that I can begin playing the game. And this four is the acceptance criteria. First, there should be a play button on the main activity screen. Second, on button press, the player should be asked if they want to log in. Third, if the player wants to log in, the login activity should be loaded. Lastly, if the player does not want to log in, the game scene should be loaded. And this is my second child user story. As a registered player, I want to press the login button so that I can get into my account. And this four is the acceptance criteria. First, the plain text for entering a username must be filled for a successful login. Second, the plain text for entering a password must be filled at least 6 characters for a successful login. Third, on a button press, the user should be shown a toast if successful. Lastly, Firebase should reflect that the user's account is created. You can see the play button on the main activity. If I click this, you can see the alert dialogues that ask you to log in first or not. So if I click no, I can directly enter the game scene. And if I click yes, I can go into the login activity. So if I entered my account and password, and if I click the login button, you can see this text message that I log in successfully. And if I create a new account with less than 6 characters of password, I can't create my account because the password is too short. So if I created the password more than 6 characters, I can create my account. You can see that toast message. As you can see, there's new account is appeared in the Firebase. So I can also log in with this new account.
Remington here again. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to my team for trusting me with these wild ideas about this multi directional gravity game.